Hello, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for supporting me. I love you. Please, if you are new on this my channel, do me well to subscribe on this my channel. Do me a thumbs up, like this my video and share it. So on today's video, I will be showing you on how you can calculate your hip allocation. Now, we normally use calculate as in divide our hip, both the front and back together, as in like folding our dress and divide it into 4. In this video today, I'm going to be showing you on how you can divide front different and divide the back different. All right, for you to get that that back curve very well. All right, now I'll be using the hip I'll be using today is 40. My waist I'll be using is 35. Now let me talk of this my hip. I will divide this my hip into 2, right? I've divided already. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Now this 20 serves as the front part and the back part. Now we remove the back part and work with the front part first. After finish working the front part, before I work with the back part. Now, like I said, after I've divided my hip, my round hip like this into 2, what I got was 20 inches and this is 20 inches. Now from this 20 inches that serve as my front part, I will minus 1 inches from it. And this is 1 there, the 1 inches. I hope you see it. I remove 1 inches from this 20. What will remain here will be 19. Now we add this 1 inches to this 20 inches for the back part because of the bolt at the back. All right. Now when I add this 1 to this 20, what I will get there will be 21. Now let me explain why I minus from this one and add it to this particular one. If you are working with the hip, that your hip, the gap between waist and hip, if it's bigger than if you use 8, 7, 6, 6 bigger than the waist, what you remove there will be 1.5. I hope you are getting it. But if the gap between the waist and the hip is 5, 4, 3 to 1, what you remove is this 1 inches. But if the waist and the hip, there's no difference. The difference is not that maybe the hip is 40, the waist is 40. You know, sometimes it's like that. You don't need to remove anything. Just go ahead and divide your dress into 4. So in this case now, the gap between my hip and my waist is 5 inches. That is why I minus 1 inches. I hope you get it. Now let me explain it here very well. Now look at my 20 inches, my front part. The 20 inches that I minus 1 inches from it, it remains 19 inches. All right. So this 19 inches, I will divide it into 2. 19 divided by 2 is 9.5. So this 9.5 is what I'll be using for my front part. I hope you get it. All right. 9.5 is my front part measurement. Now let me come down to my back part. My back part is 20, like I said earlier, after dividing my hip. 20, I minus the one I minus from the front part, 1 inches. I add it to the 20 inches. That gives me 21. I hope you see it. 1 plus 20, 21. So this 21 is what I will divide right now. 21 divided by 2. What I got there is 10.5. I hope you get it. So my back part is 10. Let me write it here so that I can know that this is my back part. My back part is 10.5. All right. I can write my back like this so that I will know that this is one now is my back part. This is the front part. This measurement is what I will use it for my front part. And this one is what I'll be using for my back part. So if you look at this now, it's that 1 inches I remove from. I remove 1 inches from here and add it. But if I don't remove anything, it will be the same 10.5. All right, I hope you get it now. If you need any question, drop it on the comment board. I will reply you. So first of all, I will first of all cut the front part and use it to cut the back part. So I will start to measure from my front part, my hip side. I'm not calculating the waist is not have a we are not making it hip allocation here. It's just the hip side. So this waist side, you divide it normal divide, as in my hip is 35. I hope you're getting it. My waist is 35. 35 divided by 4 is 8.5. All right. The waist, you will divide your waist into 4. It's 8.5 my waist. So I will add my sewing allowance. In case if you are making the hip, waist, and this is skirt that has band on here, so you don't need to measure your waist. So use your hip because of the elastic you're going to be putting for the waist side. So this dress, I'll be making it band on it, as in rubber on the waist side. But if it's the one that you don't want to put rubber on it, so you can now take your waist measurement. After that, you add your sewing allowance and the dart allowance. I hope you're getting it. All right. Now I come to my hip. My hip is like I said, my hip before. My front hip is 9.5. So I fold my dress into 2 like this. The front part, I will fold it into 2. So my measurement here is 9.5. 9.5. So I'll be adding sewing allowance. I add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. I hope you are getting it now. Now the next thing to do now is to come down to my hip line. This is my hip line. Whatever I got from my waist, my hip, I will minus 1.5 from it at my knee length. Please, for you to get a perfect pencil skirt, from your waist, you measure 18 inches to get your knee length. Don't minus anything from this full length without taking it here first. Whatever you take here, that is what you connect straight to the full length. So I will measure the 9.5 and remove 1.5 from it at my knee length. I hope you see it. So when I minus it, 9.5, I minus 1.5. What will remain there will be 8 inches. Alright, 8 inches. 8 inches. And I add my sewing allowance. I hope you are getting it now. Alright. So this measurement is what I will take straight to the down part. So when I measure it complete now, everything here is, both my sewing allowance is 10.25. So I connect it to this side. After that, I use my ruler to connect everything. Alright, so this is my hip. You see how it curves? But if you take it from here, you won't get that shape from the knee length. This is how to cut perfect pencil skirt. Now, like I said, I want to make it straight. I'll be attaching my own. I'll be attaching rubber at the side here. But if you're not attaching rubber at the side, so you can now take the waist measurement. So I will make it straight. The waist and the hip will be straight. Alright, will be straight. So the next thing to do now is to cut it out. So this one now is the front part. I hope you get this particular work. This one serves as my front part. So I'll be cutting it right now. So I'll start to cut from here. So when you get to this the shape of this knee length, you follow it well. See what I'm doing here. So I've cut it out. Hope you see it. So the next one to cut is the main one. The one that has both curve at the hip side. That is the one I'll be working now, right now. So after I finish the front part, after I cut the front part, so this is the back part and this is the front part. Please remember to take the full length of your skirt first. So for the back part, it's on fold. So I take this my front part like this and place it like this. Make sure you place it to the end. So I make sure that it gets to the end of this part. I use my pin to hold it down. Alright, I hold it down with the pin. So after I finish pinning it, I trace the cutting. Alright, so I've cut it. It's now equal at this side here. Right, it's equal there. So this is the real work here for the back part. This is the back part where I will be doing my curving. Now remember I said my back part is 10.5. I will take my tape, the tip of the tape, and place it on this side. Look at it, at that tip there, and measure my 10.5. Right, this is my 10.5 here. Right, now remember the front part I add 2 inches for the sewing allowance. I'll bring my tape back here and measure my 2 inches for the sewing allowance. I hope you are getting it now. Don't worry, you will get it right because I will explain it step by step. You will understand it. All right, so like I said again, let me explain it again. From there I measure my 10.5. This is my back 10.5 here. After that I bring my tape down and measure my sewing allowance. So all together will be 12.5 with my sewing allowance. So the next thing to do now is to connect this side to here, to curve it to this side and curve it to my knee length. Now I use my hand to curve it to this side and curve it again to this side. I hope you see. If you have French curve, you can use it. Alright, I can use my hand to curve it like this. So this thing serves as my hip curve. Alright, so I'm going to follow it now. Make straight line. I hope it's what I did now. I curve from this my hip. Make sure that I curve it to my knee length. This serves as my knee length. Alright, now from there I follow it straight down. I hope you get it. So this one now serves as my hip curve here. So if I measure this place to here, you will see that it's that same one I minus. That is what I will get. From here to here now is that 1 inches that I minus from the front to the back part. I hope you get it. So after that, the next thing to do here is to add my zip allowance. So I don't need to add that allowance on this skirt. But if you want to add that, you will add it here. Just measure 1 inches. In case if you want to add that here 1 inches, made it straight to meet this my curve, also like this. In case if you want to add that on it, you measure 1 inches from here to here and connect it to meet to the curve here. I hope you see this curve as it looks like. You see how the curves comes out. This one now we accommodate the hip of making the person hip I'm making this dress for. All right, so the front will be flat, while the back part we have this hip curve like this. Now after that, the next thing to do now is to add my zipper allowance. From this middle part here that I place my hand, place your tape and measure 2 inches for your zip allowance. All right, and come to this upper side here, this side here also, measure 2 inches for your zip allowance. Now connect it. All right, connect from this zip here to meet to this side, and come to this down part here, measure 2 inches also from the down part. 2 inches from this knee length, measure 2 inches. So this thing serves as your zip allowance. So after that, I will use my ruler to connect everything together. All right, I will use my hand needle to sew it so that you will see what I will do. So when I want to sew it now, this is where I will sew. I will sew from this side. That is for my zip allowance. When I want to sew my zip allowance, I start to sew it from this side here, not from this side. All right, so this one will start as something like this. Let me show you something. This is what the one I use paper to make. This is my hip, my back where I sew for my zip. So this is the inside here, like as you see. So after sewing it, this is the little allowance that will come out for the zip part. So when I want to fix my zip, I open it like this and fix the zip here, while the hip butt is there already. I hope you see it. And the front is flat. The front will be flat, while the back will have the hip sign. All right, so that is what this one is all about. So I'm going to be sewing this place with my hand needle. I will sew it straight to this damp parts. I will show you. So the next thing to do now is to cut it out. I hope you get what I'm doing. Is to cut it out. So I will start cutting it from this side. So I'm done with it, the cutting. So the next thing to do now is to sew it. So when I sew here now straight, this place will remain as my the allowance for the zip. All right, when I sew here, after sewing here, so this place now will remain as my allowance of the zip. All right, so I'll be sewing it right now for you to see it. So I've used hand needle to sew it. You see the sewing part. From my curve, I use the hand needles. I hope you are seeing it right. So I sew it down to this full length. So see the allowance that remain. So the next thing to do now is to open it. All right, see it. See the allowance for the zip. This is my box. It. So this is where you fix your zip. You lose it little, like up to 8 inches, and fix your zip. You see how the hip curve comes out very well. So this particular one, you'll be able to calculate your hip for your customer or for yourself. You see how it balances. All right. Alright, so the next thing to do now is to join both the front and the back together. So this is the front part of my dress, and this is the back part. If it's something that you'll be using, like I said, if you are using this thing for it, rubber elastic for the waist, so you don't need to shape it. All you need to do is to sew sew 1 inch from this edge here straight down, and come to this side and sew your 1 inch also straight down. Very easy. I'll be doing it right now. You see, I'm about to join it together. I'm going to be sewing with my hand needle. Alright, for you to see it. Before sewing it, see how the inside looks like. See the hole inside. So with this one, you can balance your hip. Alright. Right. I have used hand needle to sew it. I sew it down together. This is the back part, this is the front part. I make sure that I bring it together equally like this. Alright. And I use my hand needle to sew it straight down. Alright. Now, I've made video on how to shape your dress, your skirt, your gown, whichever one you are saying. Now, like I said, this waist side will be band, so you don't need to take any measurement there. Whatever I use for my waist, my hip, I use for the waist. So when it comes to my knee length, whatever I have for my hip, I take it for the knee length. Like now, my hip is 10.5. Like I said earlier, 10.5. That's 10.5. When I'm shaping it on my pencil skirt, I shape that the same 10.5 for my knee length and sew it straight down to give me perfect pencil skirt. Alright, so in case if you have not watched my video on how to shape your dress, go to my channel and check on how to shape your dress. I explain it there well. So alright, so this is how to sew this skirt. Calculate your hip. Like you can see now, like I've showed it earlier, this is the butt part of my dress, or the back part. This is the back part. The shape has come out, but the front part is very flat. I hope you see it. See the front part like this. The front part is very flat. You see it is very flat, while the back part has that shape. Alright, just give it a try and you see how it comes out. With this one, it will accommodate the hip of your dress. Alright, thank you very much for taking your time to watch my video. And if you have not subscribed before watching my video, do me well also to subscribe on this my channel. Do me a thumbs up, like this my video, and share my video. Thank you so very much. I love you. Bye bye.